eventually I signed for 7 figures. It was the highest advance ever for a novel in Canada. The film rights were sold to Cruise Wagner, that's Tom Cruise's production company, and after a bidding war with a bunch of other companies like Demi Moore's and Jennifer Aniston at the time. And so, yeah, it was a weird, it was a long time ago, but it was kind of this weird jump start to everything.
Yeah. And then how did you transition then into screenwriting? Were you able to write some of these as you're optioning your books? Were you able to write some of those adaptations into screenplays? Talk about that transition going from a novelist to a screenwriter.
Yeah, the last thing anybody wants is a novelist to write their screenplay. They just know it'll end up a 425-page screenplay. So, no, I didn't. That is not actually how I got my start. I did eventually, after I wrote, my third novel was called The Dwelling, and there were lots of eyes on it for film rights. And I had decided that after a lifelong affair with horror film and television, I wanted to try my hand. And, cocky little girl that I was, I figured if I leveraged the rights against letting me write the first draft, I'd be able to do this, and they'd see that, oh, look at that writer. But what really happened was the leveraging worked. The leverage worked. So a smaller company ended up optioning the screenplay, and under the condition that I write the first draft. So there I was, my arrogant little self. I sat my butt in the chair, and I went, this is going to be a cakewalk because I have the blueprint right in front of me, and it's my own story, and this is going to be so easy. And that quickly descended into tears. And, one of the hardest things I've ever done. So that was my inauspicious beginning. And I can tell you what happened. What happened to that?
Yeah, please. Yeah, continue the story. This is fascinating.
What happened was, obviously I wrote a clunker. And I knew it was a clunker. It was no secret to anyone around me, after multiple breakdowns, etc. So the company that had hired me to do the first draft, they asked me very gently and delicately if they could allow the director that they'd attached to do the second draft. And so I had a new condition. And my new condition was he'll let me look over his shoulder so I can see how he writes the screenplay. And that was Robert Tuffley, who is the director of Bright Hill Road, my first feature film, which is the film that we're going to talk about in a little bit. So Robert and I met, and he let me shadow him while he did the rewrite, and I learned a heck of a lot about screenwriting and storytelling, and that was it. I never really looked back. I still wrote books after that. I wrote 2 more, but I started writing screenplays. And they say the Outliers rule is you need 10,000 hours of something to be able to call yourself a craftsman. And so between that first time and now, I've put in about my 10,000 hours. Isn't that cool? Sort of interesting that worked.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Selling Your Screenplay podcast. If you'd like to hear the full interview, just go to sellingyourscreenplay.com/podcasts. Or to go directly to the episode, just use the link in the show notes. Thanks for watching.